First off, I would like to thank everybody for taking the time to come here for this occasion. It's very important for us as the Chatham County Democratic Party to be able to speak and focus on what things need to be addressed in the state of Georgia, in Chatham County, in Savannah, Georgia, and all the other municipalities that sit within Chatham County. So I'd like to thank all the policy holders who came here to join with me, Mayor Van Johnson, our County Chair Chester Ellis, who was invited, our County Commission, Savannah City Council members, local business leaders, and once again, the Democrats who are the majority here in Chatham County, and making sure that we keep our narrative here tied to the Democratic Party. The reason why we came here today in protest is Georgia is at the center of a nationwide debate over elections, and the security, despite zero evidence of any kind of election fraud in our state or in our county. Even our Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, has already went through, and we've done it 3 times on recounts in elections, and there has been found no voter fraud whatsoever here in the state of Georgia. But this past week, the Republicans voted as a caucus to enact the most blatant racist attack on voter rights in the South since Jim Crow. Republicans in the Georgia General Assembly are actively working to change the rules of voting here in our state. Rules they wrote many years ago, but because they were defeated in one of the largest votes in the history of America and in Georgia, that they want to rewrite what needs to happen in our state. Georgia House representatives sided with the conspiracy theories and misinformation spreading by the House Bill of 531. And with that misinformation, they're going to restrict drop box access, add new ID requirements for mail voting, restrict weekend voting, among other provisions, all of which demonstrate just how they want Georgia to stay in the state it's been for a long time. Well, I got a wake-up call for us. We here in Georgia are tired of being left out. What represents behind me is what Georgia really is. It's not one race, it's not one gender, it's a multitude, it's a conglomerate, it's an attitude that we want to see difference in our community. We want change. And we expressed that change in the last 2 elections when we took the time to put in a long time 2 Democrats in the United States Senator seats. Now is the time for Georgia in 2022, and I will ask, Van, come on up here, brother. Now is the time in Georgia. Now is the time in Georgia. We're getting ready for 2022. Just like they're getting ready to fight, we're getting ready to fight. 2022 is where the state of Georgia will be up. And we understand that these rules and regulations, these laws, these things that they're trying to pass in the local state house and in the local state senate, they're only being done because we understand that Georgia will really turn blue. And when I say that, we've done it on the federal level, now it's time to work it on the state level. And so whatever kind of rules and regulations that will try to be put out there to prevent that from happening, that is what is trying to be played out. So I encourage you. I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to acknowledge. We will have a press release come out on behalf of the Chatham County Democratic Committee that will back some of the things I just said, and it will also enforce that we no longer want to sit back idle and accept the status quo. It is time for Republicans to understand Democrats want democracy in this country, in this state, and in this county. And at this time, I'm going to let the mayor of Savannah, Georgia, go ahead and say his piece as far as what's going on, because we as Democrats are sticking together, united as a common front, to make sure that everybody knows, not just here, everybody knows that we are not going to be defeated no more. And so I turn it over to the mayor.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I bring greetings on behalf of the Democratic National Committee, of which I'm a member, the Georgia Democratic Committee, Democrats of Georgia, of which I'm a member, and of the Democratic Municipal Officials, of which I'm the National Secretary. And I stand today in solidarity with our colleagues, friends, brothers and sisters of the Chatham County Democratic Party. Certainly at this time when we should be talking about recovery, talking about how to bring Georgia back from all of the things that we have faced over the last year, we're trying to find ways to prevent people from voting. At a time in which Georgia showed record turnout, that we finally seemed to get it right, that people were coming out to the polls in unprecedented numbers. We're spending valuable, precious time, efforts, and resources, and to be able to try to find ways to stop people from voting. We're trying to find ways to change the rules because we didn't like the results. And certainly that is not what Georgia is all about. We have worked very hard to ensure that Georgians have a right to say their piece and make their opinions known. And Georgia has done that in a way that has affected our entire country. And certainly our entire country has changed because of this. So therefore, we are quite dismayed when we look at the unprecedented amounts of reforms, or quote-unquote reforms, to be able to try to find ways to prevent people from being able to vote. My position is and remains, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And there's no reason to fix something that's not broke. So again, I'm standing with our colleagues of the Chatham County Democrats, and we're standing in solidarity with Democrats across the state and across this nation to say if we are trying to take away somebody's opportunity to vote, we are depriving them of a vital civil right. And certainly in 2021, we are still fighting for and about civil rights. So thank you for the opportunity. And again, we're calling on people of goodwill throughout our state who recognize when something in the milk ain't clean, is to recognize that we do the right thing and let the chips fall where they may. God bless. Thank you.
At this time, you've heard from Chatham County, you've heard from Savannah, Georgia. Now at this time, if the news media has any questions, this is the time to ask those questions, because we want to make sure that those 25,000 people who in Chatham County took the opportunity to take advantage of an absentee ballot box gets the same opportunity come 2021 and 2022 and moving forward. So at this time, we're asking people who we take the time to go to the poll and vote for to step up and do what's right for the people and not do what's right for political party. Because what we have done, because if we're not willing to do what's right for the people, people will continue to suffer. And we're not going to change anything as far as suffering is concerned until we do right by us. And so at this time, if there are any questions from the media, I'm here to answer.
I guess can you kind of explain why you guys think it's going to make it harder for people to vote by taking away the absentee ballot boxes out here and the requiring IDs when sending in ballots?
Well, this is how I look at it. Every household doesn't have a copy machine, or every household is not available to be like for Sunday polls. You take it down to one Sunday poll. If I'm a working class person Monday through Friday, Sunday may be the only opportunity I got to go to the polls to get and vote. And so my thing is this: if you did have anything wrong with the voting process, you showed that more people showed up to the polls. Why are you changing anything narrative-wise? The only reason why you're changing it narrative-wise is because guess what? You're trying to suppress, you're trying to hold back, you're trying to keep somebody from voting. If it was something that was actually truly broken or wrong with the system, I would agree with it. But there was nothing wrong with the system. People got the opportunity to vote because we added the extra voting boxes. We suspended the rules as far as saying that you can be at any age, and any person who is a registered voter to be able to go out there and vote. We suspended these rules. And that's what's being introduced in the Senate right now. They want to go back to the age requirement. They want to go back to the requirement as far as being disabled. They want to go back to the requirement of giving a reason that you're out of town or whatever case may be and you're not able to vote. We have to get past that. We shouldn't be given a reason. If you're a registered voter, you should be able to vote, and there should be no restrictions at all. And so my thing is, when you put restrictions out there, you're tripping people up from being able to vote. And so give me a real reason, which I have not heard yet from any Republican, why are you putting all these restrictions out here? If you've shown in 3 times there was no evidence of wrongdoing, why put this out here? The reason why you're doing it is because you're tripping up people. And I can tell you right now, there's a direct correlation between all the things that we're introducing that and how it affects that new age population that's showing up to the polls. It's a direct correlation. If the numbers and the facts weren't there, I wouldn't be here talking to you. But it's all there. It's all in black and white. And we got to get past that. If you really want to see democracy really succeed in our world, you got to make sure you support democracy to be able to be governed in this world. And so we cannot do anything that's going to suppress or keep somebody from voting. Because not everybody is like me. Not everybody's going to say, well, I can't do that, then I'll do it a different way. Some people will quit, and that's what we cannot do. We cannot put barriers out there to get people that may want to quit. So we have to stop that right now. We have to do. I have not heard anybody say, what can we do to get more people to go to the polls? Why aren't we doing that? I have not heard that discussion at all. But I've heard all kinds of discussion of how we keep people from making it to the polls.
If I can add something right quick. The state doesn't pay for any of this. This is paid for by local dollars. If they're not paying for it, what they worried about it for? The fact is, this box here and the boxes across our community, the League of Women Voters of the Coastal Empire provided those boxes. No state money was used. So what they worried about it for? Certainly we are writing things just as they are. Again, young people, we recognize when you look at the numbers, at the number of people that voted early and voted using these boxes, where in their communities, where people were, the fact of the matter is we know this works. And so we know if it's taken away, we know it has a dramatic effect on how these elections turn out. Again, we're trying to change the result because we don't like how it turned out.
And then you put clauses, and then when you put clauses in like there, if you see the clause, one of the main clauses that I'm very upset about, that I didn't have any understanding, you're telling people that you're not going to have the opportunity to vote in person or vote by absentee ballot, and then you're telling us by default we can't even give these people water and food when they're in line waiting for vote. And that's something that was in law. Why put stuff like that in the law? It makes no sense. You know, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
You good.
Question for both of you. Savannah is, there's a lot of manufacturing here, there's a service industry here, we're a tourism-based city, these are shift workers, these are blue-collar workers, we have a lot of seniors and elderly here. How do you think that this is going to directly impact those groups as far as voter turnout moving forward? Mayor Van, you first, and then we'll finish up with Jay.
Well, it goes back to what we were saying. If you eliminate opportunities, you eliminate votes. And it's just plain and simple like that. The greatest thing about these boxes were, and I used them during both elections, all elections in this cycle, was that when I got my absentee ballot finished, at my convenience, I had the opportunity to drop it off. So if I'm working a late shift, if I'm getting up early in the morning, if I'm transportation challenged, I could drop it off at my convenience. Certainly being able now to take this away to limited shows, again, we're trying to change the result. We have some hot days in Savannah, and we've had some very hot days. And so I'm supposed to watch somebody pass out and not offer them water or offer them food if they're diabetic or if they have some type of health challenges because state law says I can't help them to do so. I mean, this is not a smorgasbord. We're not trying to feed people so that they're full. We're trying to feed them to sustain them. And so, again, this is an opportunity of you creating a law to solve a problem that does not exist.
And my thing is, he's already said a lot, but this is the echo piece that I'm going to piggyback on that. I done said it, most of those people that you spoke of, hospital industry, hotel industry, most of those are working class people. If you heard what the law says it can no longer be outside, it's got to be inside. And so what that does is when it's inside, if that business closed, guess what? The opportunity of them being able to drop that ballot goes away. But what I can tell you right now, this ballot box right here during the election season, I watched close to 200 people put the ballot in that ballot box and drive up, drop it off, and keep it moving. Now you're taking those kind of opportunities away because, and we've already understood when the League of Women Voters did all that stuff as far as getting the ballot boxes, we understood the ramifications because the Board of Elections gave us all kind of rules and regulations. They had to be somewhere, it had to be secured. It had to be somewhere where a camera was viewed. It had to be, so we've already went through those discovery points to make sure that no kind of cheating was being done. But now when you put it inside and it has to be paired up with the location where a polling place is at, you change the dynamics of everything. And so when you change the dynamics, you change the programming. And it takes a long time for people to adjust when you change the programming. And we got to stop that. We got to stop that.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys have any other questions for them?
Yeah, we saw that this passed the House with not a large margin of votes. Is there a level of optimism that they'll be able to keep this from passing throughout the Senate and keep this away from the governor's desk?
You're talking about the State House.
Yes.
All right. The problem I've seen in the House bill was small compared to what we're going to see in the Senate bill. And the Senate bill is going to get more methodical as far as what kind of tactics it's going to do. It's going, like I said earlier, it's going to add the age bracket. It's going to take away no reason. See, right now, you don't have to have a reason to be able to get a ballot. But what's in the Senate bill, you have to be in one of those three categories, either disabled, on vacation or away from travel, or you can be 65 or older. At one point in time, it was 75 and older. But see, it's being methodically done to make sure that it keeps certain groups of people from being able to go ahead and do the absentee ballot votes. I can pretty much assure you, looking at how much the numbers jumped from 2018 to 2020, people took advantage of the fact that you did not have to have a requirement to be an absentee ballot voter. In the Senate bill, it's going to take that chance away. And so when it brings that restriction, less and less people who are under the age of 65 are not going to vote. And you gave them opportunity to do that, and now you're taking that away. So I would hope that it would be something that the Senate does not pass, and I'm going to ask all them people behind me to make sure we call our cousins, our family, our friends, our neighbors, and everybody else, and make sure that the senators don't make it pass, make sure it doesn't pass, because that's something we cannot deal with in our democracy, taking us even worse to what we had to deal with Jim Crow. You got anything else?
Trying to formulate this. So before we had no excuse voting, and more people found out about that because of COVID.
Correct.
And people were able to do it that way. But now they're trying to change it when it was already in place, and they saw more people turned out with this. I guess, I don't know. You think they saw more turnout, and that's why they went up?
Well, it's obvious. I mean, if you look at the numbers in 2018, put it this way, in 2018, if we would have had no restricted voting and we knew about the no restriction voting, we would be talking about a different governor. I hope you caught that. We would be talking about a different governor. But because we keep these things behind closed doors and we don't, and because of COVID, they opened up the no reason restrictions for COVID. And it worked. COVID opened up the miracle for us. We just took advantage of the process. And because we took advantage of the process, they want to go back into what we came from and say, well, now we need to put the restrictions on it because we don't need that many people showing up to the polls. And so we cannot allow them to take us backwards. We need to be moving forward. And moving forward is doing anything by any means necessary to get registered voters to show up to the polls. Right now in Chatham County, you have 70,000 registered voters who did not vote. 70,000 registered voters who did not vote. What are we doing once again to get those people to get to the polls? What kind of actions have we opened it up to get them to the polls? That's what we should be talking about, not restricting more people.
We're very clear about what next year is. Be very clear, and we're very clear.
Very clear.
And so we don't want the robbery that occurred in 2018 to happen in 2022. And this is a setup for that.
Well, if y'all don't have any more questions, in closing, you heard the mayor. This is about 22. And I don't care what kind of laws or regulations they try to put out there. We're going to do everything we can to change this government structure.
That's right.
And we're going to take this government back.
That's right.
And we're going to show them that Democrats understand democracy. and it's for the people. Because my thing is, if you look behind me, there's not white people, there's not black people, there's all kind of people. There's not male and there's not female, there's all kind of people. And that's what America's all about. And somewhere down the line, we forgot that. But I'm here to put the message clear. It's about the people, and it's the people's time to shine. And unless we support people and making sure people politics actually show them to come to the forefront, we're going to keep dying. So it's all about 22, like the mayor said. Let's go out there and do what we got to do. And I'm asking everybody behind me, and I'm asking everybody who's watching this right here. We need to make sure we send a message to those state senators. If they vote for this mess, then guess what? We're going to vote against that mess. And like I did the other day, I put it out there. We put the House reps out there as far as how they voted. We're going to do the same thing for those senators when they vote this thing. So guess what? It's our time to shine, and we are ready. I thank y'all for coming out here. I thank everybody who stands behind us, because this is not about me. This ain't about the mayor. This is about us making sure democracy makes its place in Chatham County. Thank y'all.